Hi, my name is Ben. I don't normally start my videos with an introduction, but it's the holidays and it's time for family and friends and gatherings, so I'm going to make this video a little cozier. We'll throw a log on the royalty-free crackling fire and we'll talk about things that really matter, things that draw us together, like what board games we're going to play for the holidays. Next week, I'm going to be spending the week with most of my family in Arizona. There's 8 adults and 2 kids, and so I want to pick the games that I'm going to share with them. Now, if you watched my other video about the top 10 family board games, those are great recommendations, but it's suitable for my little family of 4, with my 2 kids and my wife and me. Now I have to plan for 8 adults, and of those adults, very differing levels of interest in board games. My aunt and my cousin are least likely to get into something more thematic. They both like cards. And then my brother and sister-in-law are really into board games and have a collection of their own. So I've got 14 picked out here. Certainly they can't all fit in my luggage, but I want to talk about some of my own thoughts about what goes well with a different audience or a larger audience, and I'd love to hear what your recommendations are, because honestly in this arena I don't have the largest collection of games, but here's some things worth considering. So in no particular order, the first game I have here is called Skull. Skull is a game all about bluffing. Players start with tokens and they are trying to bid on how many safe tokens can be revealed and poisonous tokens can be avoided. It has exceptionally simple rules and can be a whole lot of fun. So that's Skull, and just given the size, I'm probably going to bring that. The next game is a 4-player game, but I have the expansion. It's beautiful, it's challenging, it's called Sagrada. Sagrada, you're building a stained glass window using dice placement. It's an excellent game. My wife loves this one. I don't think I'm going to bring it though, because I've got another game that's about placement as well. And in Sagrada, while you take turns, in this other game I'm considering, everybody plays at the same time. In fact, I'll jump to that game next. This is the game I'm thinking of taking instead of Sagrada. The game is Tiny Towns. Tiny Towns, you're building a town, and you're doing that by placing little cubes onto a grid. And when the cubes in the grid satisfy a pattern, you can put a building in their place. And the objective is to make buildings worth the most victory points before you run out of space in your grid. What makes it really interesting for the gameplay, it plays up to 6 by the way, is one player is the master builder who selects the cube that every other player must also take. So everyone is building with the same material, and the combinations that they place on their board are going to depend on, not on what they want, but if they can anticipate what other players will choose. I think Tiny Towns is a definite. Okay, the next game can play up to 10, which is perfect for the group. It's a game that is very well known. If you haven't played it, you need to try it out. It's called Avalon. This is a secret identities game, and there are some good guys and some bad guys, and during the course of the game you have to figure out who's who. What I really like about Avalon, and I don't like about games like Coup or Ultimate Werewolf, is that there's no player elimination. Everybody gets to play this game for the entire course of the game. They don't get kicked out. Okay, the next game is a 2-player game, but I still put it in my stack. You know why? Because I really want to play with my brother. And you know what? I might play with my mom as well. It's a game that's still shrink-wrapped. I haven't even tried it yet, but I read the rules and I know how to play. It's called Watergate. And Watergate is the Nixon administration against the Washington Post. This is asymmetrical gameplay. The Nixon administration player is trying to conceal a scandal. The Washington Post player is trying to reveal it. I definitely want to try this with my brother, and it's not very big, so I'm taking it. Okay, next we're going to get into the party games that I recommend. All 3 of the party games are word games. I don't know why that is. Why are great party games word games? Maybe I'll show them to you all at the same time. Decrypto, trap words, and code names. So, what are they? Well, Decrypto, your team is trying to guess words, kind of like Taboo. You can give one-word hints, but the opposing team is preparing traps for you that you must go around. What makes this game different from a game like Taboo is in Taboo, you know what words you're not supposed to say, and in Trap Words, the words you're not supposed to say are a secret. They are traps. In Decrypto, your objective is to help the players on your team identify a 3-digit code. You do this by suggesting hints in words, and the players on your team know secretly that those digits in the code are associated with secret words. As the opposing team listens to your hints, they are trying to figure out if they can identify the numerical code without having the secret key. So it's a game about decryption. If you play well, you basically use hints that are strong enough for the players on your team to identify them, but varied enough that the opposing team can't decrypt it. Very challenging and fun game for 2 teams. And then the last one, I'm just bringing this because it's so small. This is a 3D printed box, and inside is a handmade set of Codename cards. Codename is a really, has sold so many copies. In Codenames, you're trying to get the players on your team to, again, guess words, and they have to do that without guessing words that belong to the opponents. If they guess the words correctly, then your team earns points. If they guess your opponent's words, then the opponents get points. Okay, the next one is at the request of my brother. Now, those of you who watch the channel know that I'm not a big fan of this game. I'm sort of over it, but my brother asked for it, and I mean, like, you know, I might come back around. Anyway, guess what it is? Everdell. Yep. Yeah. The thing with Everdell, like, listen, I've said this before. Yes, I think there are better games than Everdell, but it is so attractive. It's so approachable. It's not very hard to explain, and it has a strategy that's much deeper than most people would otherwise be willing to play. And it's because the game just draws you in. It's very good at drawing you in. I want to give my brother the pleasure of experiencing it at least once. But you know what? Because of the size, I might not even take it. I'm going to put it over there with Sagrada. Okay. Oh boy. We got a few more small card games, and then we got my 2 most exciting games. I did put them at the bottom. I said it was no particular order, but it's in order, kind of. Next ones are card games, and then my favorite games. Okay. Boy, I've talked about this one before. The Crew. A cooperative trick-taking game. My mom loves this game. She would be disappointed if I didn't take it. And then, talked about this one before, Wizard. Wizard is a competitive trick-taking game with up to 6 players. It is 6 players, right? Where does it say? Ah, yes, it is 6 players. A competitive trick-taking game for 6 players. A lot of fun. And that's also one that my family has played a lot of times. Everyone's familiar with Wizard. And then the Mind. Very easy. Up to 5 players can play the Mind. It's just so simple. The thing with card games, they're so small. Like, why not? Just throw it in the suitcase, right? Okay. Now, you guys know I love this game. This is a game that plays 4 players. What I did, though, is I bought another copy, had it sent to my mom with 2 boxes. You can play 8. There's no reason why you can't play 8. It requires 1 rule modification. Do you know what the game is? The game is Karuba. Karuba, like Tiny Towns, allows all players to play at the same time. They're building a route through the jungle in order to get their explorers to find treasure. The thing that makes it different, if you're going to play with 2 boxes, is that the treasure, it's like a race, right? So the first person to get treasure gets like a treasure with 4 or 5 points. And then the next person to get treasure gets a 4-point treasure, and then it's 3 and then 2. So if you have more players, what I would just do is I'll just stack the tokens so that there's 2 5-point tokens and 2 4-point tokens and 3-point tokens. So that means the first and second player get 5 points, and then the third and fourth player get 4 points. That's going to be how I modify the rules, and it's going to be great. So Karuba, I'm definitely putting it in the pile with Tiny Towns. And then lastly, the game that I'm most excited about, I found out about it from my friends over at Table Knots. The game is Mind Management. And do you know why I'm bringing this game? I'm bringing this game because my kids love this game. My kids love this game. This game is for ages 13 and up. My youngest daughter is 5. She can play this game. Now, it's a challenging one. What it is it's all players against one player who has a secret path through the city. So this player has a screen in front of them and they have the map that they're keeping secret. They're using a dry erase marker to mark their location. And this player is an agent, a recruiter, who's trying to find people to join their organization. And the people are at various locations in the city. So the other 4 players have their pawns on the city and they're trying to figure out where the recruiter might be based on some information they have about the recruiter's objectives. If they can get to the location of the recruiter, they can capture him or her, and they win the game. Or if the recruiter can recruit enough people, or the game runs out of time, then the recruiter wins. But what makes the game very, very interesting is that based on who loses, the loser gets to open up a sealed box, and inside are tools to make the game easier for them next time. It gives them an advantage next time. So you play the game again, and then the other person loses, and then they get to open a box. It's not a legacy game, though. All of the pieces can be reused. It's a very exciting game. My kids like it because they like trying to discover where I am, or they like being the secret agent, and they like hiding. It took a couple of tries before my 5-year-old could figure out how to be the recruiter. But when she figured it out, she loved it. We played it 6 times in a row. We played the game 6 times in a row. Playing that game with my mom, their grandmother, their uncles, everything, I am expecting the game to be a real hit. And it has some nice complexity, which is what I like. I like to be able to sink my teeth into a game. So that is Mind Management. Altogether, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 games in the pile if I leave out Everdell and Sagrada. I would love to hear your recommendations. So if you've got a few, let me know in the comments. Looking forward to checking out some more family games. Thanks for watching. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Hope to see you next year. Bye-bye.